Good morning, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. 40 minutes before the opening bell on this Thursday, August 9, 2018. Futures are up 0.1%. Recovering some of the losses that we saw late in the trading session yesterday that got us back below after hours, the lows that we saw at the start of the trading session. So we're up about 0.1%. China was up overnight. Some of the Chinese ADRs are up pretty big this morning. BABA's back over that 180 level, up $2.50. We'll see if those gains hold. BABA has been a sell the rip over the last couple weeks, and China actually up at its highest levels since last month. So a nice move for China. Could see maybe a sustained recovery for some of these names that have been beaten down. Remains to be seen, though, of course. We could see here S&P 500 futures consolidating, looking poised to break out to new all-time record highs. We'll see if that happens today. Today is the day. Today would be the longest correction in history that didn't result in a recession if we don't break to new all-time record highs today. Speaking of new all-time record highs, well, let's look at the VIX first, because I did that 12 break last week. Now we've broken below it. We're in the 10s. So we're back to the summer lack of fear in the market. And you're starting to get the slight amount of, hey, there's no fear in this market. But we're still not at the levels that we saw back late 2017, the print in the 8s. And then, of course, Janet Yellen left and all hell broke loose. But you can see we're breaking down to the trend. We just broke under the 12 level. That was a big break. Now it looks like we're going to hang in the 10s here. That's very bullish for the market. And you can see the NASDAQ. Look at the triple Qs. I mean, you could sit there and say, wow, the top is in. But look, this continues to the break to the upside. You know, one of the more renowned Twitter, 100,000 Twitter followers says, oh, short the QQQ. That was the trade of 2017. And the excuse, the main point of that thesis was that NASDAQ had already rallied. Isn't that the definition of a trend? A trend is already having rallied. Yes, having rallied and rallied and rallied. So look at that. I mean, one of the most, how much from there? There was $110. We're at 182. So do the math there. That's a significant gain to the upside. And, you know, it's good to have that kind of bearishness. It's like, oh, here's the top. So I think QQQ, look at this chart, looks poised for the 200 level. S&P 500 ETF, the spiders. Very similar breakout here. We're about to break out to new all-time record highs. 300 level for the S&P 500 ETF, the spiders. And small caps look poised to break into that 170, 180. Ultimately, what, 200 possibly before all is said and done. Vitamin Shop. Been watching this chart. You've been listening to my videos. Look at the blog at OptionMillionaires.com when it was in the 6s and the 7s. And I talked about this breakout of this flag here. And we broke out of that flag. Then we got up to the previous earnings gap. Now this market, it's like poetry, isn't it? Because last August, Vitamin Shop dipped for the first time in its history under the $10 level. It went into single digits on its August earnings report. See this move to the downside in August? Well, what did it do this time around? 1 year later. 1 year later, it's like a video with the two different faces. The oh no and the woo-hoo-hoo faces. 1 year later, the happy face. We got up to almost 11 yesterday. It looks poised. Guess what's next? You can see it right here, and I was talking about this even before we broke through this level. We were down here, and I was talking about this level. That's the next earnings gap. So how many months we have? Next earnings report. Why? By golly. So we might get up to the 15, 16 level before the earnings report. Possible breakthrough. Obviously, nothing's set in stone. No, nothing's locked. But this is a chart. You know, I went over to Stock Twits yesterday when the stock was rallying. They're like, ooh, time to short this. Look at the chart. Just a beautiful reversal we're seeing to the upside. It just looks poised to break up and possibly over that 20 level before the year end. So still have some of those November calls. We're going to ride them out. Some other charts to watch. I think it's going to have a similar type squeeze. GME, which came down to a 10-year low, hit support. And now it's breaking out of this wedge. Look at that beautiful little candle there. I think we're at poised for a move higher. GME, over half of the outstanding shares have been borrowed and sold short. So that creates a tremendous amount of selling pressure when you can borrow 50% of the shares, sell them short, essentially creating 50% more of the outstanding shares and just dumping them in the market, creating this nasty selling pressure. And that's what's happened with GameStop. Earnings, $90 a share in earnings. I don't think this one's going the way of Blockbuster. Some great articles. I posted, you go to my Twitter feed and see some of the articles I posted. I just think that from a chart perspective, this looks great. I think it's reversing. It's hit support. And guess what? When it's hit this level of support before, guess what it's done? It's rallied. Look at this back in the middle of 2012. Hit the support level, had a strong, sharp rally up to about the 21 level. Look, very similar action here. We hit support. I think that's where we're headed here, 21. If we break through it, oh my gosh. I'm not saying 45, but that would be great, wouldn't it? So I'm out. I'm looking at, I have October calls. I might go out to 2019. I do think we're going to see a recovery here for GME. A stock that's been kind of sideways, very frustrating action here. How about Goldman Spectacular? Just breaking out of this downward trend here. We've broken out. We're consolidated here. We tried to dip to 35, rejected. I think we're breaking out 240, 245, 250, possibly as soon as next week. Timing the move is key. We've seen financials break out. I think Goldman Sachs is setting up here for a move to the upside. It's taking its time, but I think it's going to be pretty lucrative if we go out maybe next week or the week after, 245 calls. XLE Energy continues to consolidate up here. Support resistance. Actually, you bring it down. It's a beautiful wedge. There's a possibility we could break to the upside here, but clearly want to wait for the pattern to break, because once the pattern breaks, it's been a very nice trade either to the downside or the upside. Look at this. The start of 2018, we had a break, rejection, and we fell down over $10. So we could see maybe a move back up to the highs we saw in the middle of 2014, or possibly the lows that we saw just earlier this year, 66 and change. So a couple other stocks to watch. How about U.S. Steel? U.S. Steel came down at that 30 level yesterday. I got some quick calls, sold them for a double on the recovery up to 31, but I think long term we're going to move back up to the mid to high 30s. So look for leaps on U.S. Steel. We have some names moving higher this morning. Roku breaking out over the 50 level, looks very bullish for upside. Yelp earnings report ascended up over to 45. It can break over this 50 level. Look what's up next in the 65. So we'll watch Yelp reported earnings. NetEase reported earnings last night as well, 7 p.m., a couple hours after the closing bell. The reaction here this morning is to the downside, so continue to watch this name for a move, possibly if it breaks this 225 support level, for a move to 200 and possibly below. All right, that's it. UPBOptionMillionaires.com. Now it's about, by the time this gets posted, about half hour before the opening bell on this Thursday, August 9th, 2018. I'll see you all in the chat room. Take care. Have a great day.